Welcome. We're back. Another day in the market. Hope you're all doing well. You know the drill. We are going to go over Bitcoin for a little bit, talk about the other altcoin trades. Then we're going to cover the overall stock market. I'll give my thoughts on what's happening. Pretty red day for a lot of different stocks today. After that, we'll talk about Clover, AMC, Fisker, Microvast, all the ongoing trades, and if we have time, we'll do take requests later on. But yeah, final stream for Miami. I can't talk, and then tomorrow head back north, and yeah. So hope everybody's doing well. What's up, Medi, Killaroo, Matt G, Cheddar Freeze in the chat, Barasan as well. And yeah, just gonna start with Bitcoin for right now. On Bitcoin, still a little bit over the 200-day moving average, just kind of back testing it. It still has been a great run. You know, not much has changed for Bitcoin. It just went from 30K to nearly 50K, honestly. And now it's just kind of moving a little bit sideways for the past few days. It is losing some momentum on the daily MACD. On the 4 hour, it's just kind of going sideways as well. Not too much of a technical reading for Bitcoin. I'm pretty neutral on it in the short term. I was obviously pretty bullish down over here with the falling wedge and this range. I think there was even divergence there, but you know, now it just ran about 57% in a month. So I'm kind of neutral for the short term. We'll see what happens with Bitcoin. Just to really quickly recap the other ongoing trades. First off, the Chainlink altcoin trade is up about 83% since the entry. It was 10 cents away from the third target this morning, and it pulled back right under it. If it would have just went 10 cents higher, it would have hit the third target for a 103% gain in under a month. Hopefully it can still get there. It's just showing some resistance at the 200-day moving average. The NU crypto trade is up about 29% since the entry, and the FIL crypto trade is up about 30% as well since the entry, pretty close to that first target. So pretty good for cryptos right now. On the flip side, kind of a red day for stocks. Most of the indices were down. The S&P was slightly green, the Dow Jones was slightly green, but the Nasdaq was down, the Russell 2000 was down, and the ARK ETF was down today. So we'll take a look at all of them. First off, we're going to start with the S&P 500. Yet again, another close at all-time highs. It was quite different in the morning. You know, from the low of the day to the high of the day, which is pretty much where it closed, it did bounce up almost 1%, but you know, at the lows of the day, it kind of was looking pretty ugly. It kind of looked like a bearish abandoned baby candle pattern, but that just got invalidated as the price action, you know, was good in the afternoon, and then it ended up creating a bullish engulfing candle. So complete change from like a bearish candle pattern over to a bullish candle pattern intraday. So I always got to wait for the candle to close on the daily. So same story as what I've been saying for the past however many nights. It's just good until it's not, you know. All the bearish things and technicals you want to talk about, for right now, in my opinion, the trend is your friend for the market. You know, for the past however many days, we've been closing around all-time highs. So it's just kind of trending along for right now. If you look at the Nasdaq as well, had a pretty rough morning, but ended up closing around session highs. So both of them pretty much, you know, they got off to a rough start, but then after, you know, a few rough candles in the morning, just pretty much were green throughout the day, almost filling the gap in the Nasdaq as well. So not too much of any difference for the S&P and Nasdaq. The Russell 2000 did close down about 1%. It's kind of testing this 219 level, but it is still above the demand line of this kind of ascending triangle pattern. So for all the people who trade small caps in here, still okay for right now. And then finally, the ARK ETF also pretty much came down to the 115 support and bounced off of it. But at one point today, the ARK ETF was down 4%. So I'm sure if you trade mid caps or growth stocks, you might have seen a lot of your holdings red today. And the ARK ETF does track a lot of those types of names. And yeah, it was a really, really rough morning. I was looking at the 15-minute chart early in the morning, and I shared with the Discord that the RSI on the ARK ETF on the 15-minute chart got to literally the lowest level since it topped out in the middle of February. If anybody remembers, back in the middle of February, that's when a lot of growth stocks and mid caps kind of topped out before having a rough few months, pretty much up until June or the end of May. And you pretty much got down to that same exact RSI level on the 15-minute, and then you bounced up intraday as well. So that's really it for the market. The VIX was up about 4%, but it was up a lot higher at one point during the day. There is a potential for hidden bullish divergence on the volatility index. The dollar pulled back over the weekend, I believe. I don't even know if it's actually open during the weekend. I think it is. No, it's not. So it's not open on TradingView. And then Dow Jones also closed at all-time high. So it's just kind of like the market's still on autopilot for right now. For earnings today, let me take a look. 1 second. For earnings, we had UWMC and Roblox today, also IDEX. And then tomorrow we have Walmart, Home Depot. That's pretty much it. We also have Krispy Kreme tomorrow. On Wednesday, we have Target, Lowe's, Cisco, Nvidia. Thursday, we have Macy's, Kohl's, Ross, and then Friday's pretty slow. So yeah, that's really it for the overall market. Kind of a rough start to the week for small and mid caps, but an okay start for large caps. We're still seeing small and mid caps underperform those larger names, so we'll see how everything kind of turns out. And yeah, make sure to hit that like button if you haven't already. Also, if you're not subscribed to the stream, we're really close to 3,000 subscribers, only like 90 subs away. So make sure to hit that subscribe button. And we're about to talk about Clover. I put out a video this morning on Clover. I recorded it last night before I went live, so it was like a 13-minute video. Thank you for all the support on that video. It's already over 1,000 views. So one of my best performing videos so far, apart from the stream. So appreciate all the support on that. I'm going to talk about it a little bit more right now. See if I missed anything in the chat before we get to Clover though. We will do ticker requests later on, hopefully. I don't know for sure, but I think we will. And Matt G says Tar Heel is now a dedicated student of the game. Tar Heel's been crushing it. Tar Heel's also in the chat right now saying what's up. Everybody make sure to go subscribe to Tar Heel Blue on YouTube, especially if you've been watching Clover. And not too much apart from that in the chat, pretty slow for right now. We got almost 40 people in here, so we should at least have 20 likes. Let's get those numbers up. Those are rookie numbers, okay? Wolf of Wall Street quote right there. And yeah, let's talk about Clover. So again, a lot to talk about. If you did not watch my video that I dropped early this morning, go check it out after the stream. It's about a 13-minute video, and I kind of just quickly summarized everything I could off the top of my head for Clover Health. Obviously, I've been talking about it every single night on stream for the past few weeks. I mean, I've been talking about it the whole entire year, but I've really been talking about it for the past few weeks on the stream. And today was a good day for Clover, despite having a really red day for mid caps overall. Clover kind of went against that trend. So did AMC, which we'll talk about next. But yeah, if we look at the daily candle, a little bit of a bullish pin bar on the daily, which is good. Even if we go over to the weekly chart, since this was the first day of the week, you also have a bullish pin bar for right now, but there's still 4 days until this candle closes. But if we do look at the weekly chart for Clover, it looks very funky. You just kind of have these somewhat doji candles, but you're still making higher lows like every single week to close, which is just pretty interesting. But regardless, if you kind of zoom out, like this is probably the quietest Clover has been since it was IPOC in January, back last November. But ever since then, you've had much more volatile weeks. But for the last 5 weeks or last 4 weeks, there have been some intraday moves like earnings last week. It did get the push to $10, but for the most part, if you look at the weekly, there's really been a low amount of change for the last month on Clover. So just something to keep an eye on. If we go back over to the 4 hour, you still have the potential Adam and Eve double bottom at the PCZ of a bullish crab, all these different bullish technicals. I mean, I don't really remember the last time that I saw bullish technicals on every single time frame that were super clean. Even on the 4 hour today, for the first 4 hour candle, there's 2 every single day. There was a bullish pin bar there as well. Got a little bit of follow through in the afternoon. So good day. It was up about 3%. Everything still looks very, very sound from a technical standpoint. But I found one more thing. If the daily hidden bullish divergence was not enough, if the bullish crab on the 4 hour was not enough, if the Adam and Eve double bottom was not enough, if the bullish pin bars weren't enough, there is more on the chart for Clover. I was looking at a little bit of the lower time frames today. I was just seeing if I could find something on top of all those other things I'm bringing up, and I did. And if you've been watching the stream since January, you probably know a lot about the pattern I'm about to bring up, but if you haven't, I'll do my best to kind of explain it in depth like I did before. But yeah, if we go over to those lower time frames, let me go to the 30-minute chart first. Wonder what those blue lines could be. Some people in chat might already know. If you're a premium member, you already do know. We were playing options on Clover today. They worked out well. But you might be identifying some Wyckoff accumulation on Clover. Now, if you do not know what Wyckoff accumulation is, I'm about to kind of break it down. Thank you, Mark, for the subscription. But overall, Wyckoff accumulation is something I've traded a few times since I started trading, and it's a very interesting way to look at a range. That's the easiest way to put it. So I'm gonna go over to another website to try and break it down for the newer people in here. And before we even really get into the actual pattern for Wyckoff accumulation, sorry for these ads, but whatever. Let's talk about the composite band. And this is actually really interesting to me here because there has been a lot of top manipulation going on with Clover, with the dark pool, with all the shorts, and just everything that's been happening behind the scenes. So, well, I have to say, supposedly, I don't want to get sued or anything, supposedly, allegedly, but this kind of really puts things together. So the composite man idea, and again, this is all relating to Clover, but to any stock in general, the idea of the composite man is basically an imaginary figure controlling the market. And pretty much almost a century ago, a legend in technical analysis known as Richard Wyckoff talked about how if you could kind of identify what this imaginary figure was planning, you could kind of follow his steps and be in before the big move happens. So just to read some stuff here, all the fluctuations in the market and in all the various stocks should be studied as if they were the result of one man's operations. Let us call him the composite man, who in theory sits behind the scenes and manipulates the stocks to your disadvantage if you do not understand the game as he plays it. I'm not the best reader, but to your great profit if you do understand it. Now, based on his years of observations, Wyckoff taught that the composite man carefully plans, executes, and concludes his campaigns. The composite man attracts the public to buy a stock in which he has already accumulated a sizable position in. One must study the individual stock charts with the purpose of judging the behavior of the stock and the motives of those large operators who dominate it. And with study and practice, one can acquire the ability to interpret the motives behind the action that a chart portrays. Now, thankfully, Wyckoff did kind of simplify things for us and give us example charts. So if we scroll down a little bit, we are going to see this Wyckoff accumulation schematic, which is just basically a drawing of what this type of formation can look like, where there is some sort of accumulation going on, where larger players in the game are accumulating shares from weak hands, from whoever it is, and you can kind of line these up with charts and place trades around them. Now, this is not my first time trading Wyckoff. Actually, back in January, if you were around then, we had a really legendary trade. Of course, it was with Fisker, with the same type of Wyckoff schematic, the same number one schematic. There was hidden bullish divergence on the daily. The entry of this trade idea was around $15 on Fisker, and the target was 21. It was a 44% gain. It did actually hit the target of the trade, but it actually went way higher. It didn't just only go up 44%. The stock price literally doubled within like a month and a half for Fisker after this Wyckoff accumulation range was identified by me. I don't know if other people looked at it, but yeah, kind of the same thing going on with Clover. And I'm going to kind of look at them side by side for a second here. But it is really, really interesting. And it just kind of shows that, you know, if you look at stocks, right, you have lows and highs. But after you come back down to these low areas, you can kind of tell if there is accumulation looking at the charts. So Cheddar Freeze does bring up a good point, saying it does not always look like exactly like the photo. You know, the phases will be a little bit off sometimes, and the one I'm looking at on Clover is a little bit not perfect, but it's just, you're looking for the overall idea of things like a spring, like a preliminary support, like a selling climax, a backup. So all these little things, I'm going to kind of break them down for you and tell you why this is important, why this is not just BS, and why you can kind of identify this. So let's go back over to the Clover chart and take a look over here. All right. So there's kind of two ways you could look at it. You could look at it as the Wyckoff accumulation range started over here, or you could look at it like it started over here. I'm just going to do it like it started on this dip right over here. So basically you have a rundown in price, and when you come down to what's known as, you know, a lower support or a springing area, which is basically after a long downtrend, you finally find a place where you bottom out at for the first time. And I'm sure if you were watching Clover since June, you know that it went from $28 to $8, and once it got to around this $8 level, or even a little bit under 8, is when Clover kind of started bottoming out. So the first time it bottomed out was pretty much the end of phase A. So if we just go back to the Wyckoff chart, pretty much right around over here. Then you have an automatic rally, which is basically off of your low that you create, you automatically rally back up in price, and that brings you into phase B of Wyckoff accumulation, which I think was pretty much from July 27th up until earnings. I think when we got earnings and the numbers were good, I think they actually helped this pattern get created, where you had a nice rally back up in price. If you look at it, kind of could have been right over here, where we kind of, I mean, in the pre-market, we did get above 10 last week, but during market hours, we got to like 950-ish or something. And then you come all the way back down. And I know a lot of people are frustrated that Clover went all the way to 10 after earnings last week, but came all the way back down to $8. I think it was even under 8 for a little bit in the morning. But that's a part of Wyckoff accumulation. You have the crazy rally higher, but then you come all the way back down just to frustrate those weak hands, to get those shares out of their hands so that the bigger players can make the real money. And that's what's known as your spring. You come all the way back down to your supports. You have a little bit of a fake out to the downside, which is kind of what could have occurred this morning. And that pretty much puts you into phase C. And once you come back down and you have a fake out to the downside, all the weak hands give up their shares, the big guys accumulate those shares. That brings you into phase D, which is kind of when things start to take off. And if you're watching Clover during the afternoon, it started to move a little bit higher. Now, again, it could have a red day tomorrow or the day after. The whole entire thing with Wyckoff accumulation is it takes patience. If you were around for the Fisker Wyckoff trade in January, it took a whole entire month of just sitting there and watching Fisker hang around 1455, bounce off of it, come back down to it, and it can be very frustrating from the standpoint of a retail trader. And you know, that's how the larger players make money. You know, there's some sort of quote from Warren Buffett. He says something like, you know, the stock market is meant for people with patience, right? Or the stock market is a device meant to transfer money from the impatient to the patient, something along those lines. I'm sure many of you have heard that quote, but that's kind of the idea of Wyckoff accumulation. It's kind of trying to shake out the retail traders, which would be me and all of you. But if you can identify these types of formations, you can use them to your advantage, and you could ride the wave up with the imaginary composite operator who controls the whole entire market. So it's just like this cool story of how you can look at stocks and how you can identify reversals. And it's something that, on top of everything I've already been talking about with Clover, that I made in the video I put out this morning, that I've been talking about on stream, on top of all of that, you got this going on too. And historically, I've seen these types of Wyckoff ranges lead into very, very amazing rallies. I saw with Fisker, I've seen it with Bitcoin. I saw it with QS kind of as well. And yeah, it's really interesting. I think even back in like April of this year also kind of looked like Wyckoff accumulation. If you were watching my stream, I don't know if anybody was back in April when I was talking about Clover over here, I was also saying that it looked like Wyckoff accumulation. And I'm not joking. If you want to go fact check me and look back at my streams from April and May, you can probably find where I was talking about that same exact idea for Clover. And eventually what happened? It went all the way up to 28. So it's just, if you really zoom out, it's pretty insane. And that's pretty much the point I wanted to bring up. That's the pattern reveal. It is on lower time frames, but even if you zoom out on the 4-hour chart, you can still kind of see what's going on over here. So that's really what I'm looking at on Clover. I mean, at this point, I don't know what more you can get. From the technicals to the fundamentals to the earnings, to all the different catalysts in the past 2 months, to the short interest, to the options chain. It's just insane to see everything kind of aligning together, except the price has not reflected that for right now. Maybe it never will. I mean, there's always a 1% chance of things just going the complete opposite way and just everything failing. I'm never going to act like there's any certainty in trading unless you're doing it illegally. But I'm just trying to do the best I can with the tools I have, with the knowledge I have, and I'm just trying to share all of that with all of you. So hopefully you got some education out of all of that talk. We got like 60 people in here. Only 26 likes though. Let's get to 40 likes right now. Hit that like button. Let me take a look at the chat. If you're not subscribed, we're getting closer and closer to 3,000 subs. I would love to hit that milestone this month. So hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. Appreciate all the support again on the Clover video I dropped earlier. If you missed it, you can go watch it after the stream. It's like a 13-minute video I put out this morning on my channel, all about Clover and just trying to summarize everything apart from what I just talked about, which is the Wyckoff accumulation range. But yeah, I mean, if we just go back over to the Fisker chart, you can see this was pretty much it. This was the same exact type of range back in January. The same thing I was just talking about on Clover was this range. Thank you Kelly for the subscription. But same exact range, and what happened after it? All the way up to 32 from 15. So the stock price doubled after that Wyckoff accumulation range. And Clover has a very, very similar range on the 1 hour chart. And not only is this just a range, it's also an Adam and Eve double bottom. So it's just blowing my mind at this point, where it's kind of like everything is lining up. And I don't know, I mean, I might just be a nerd for technicals, but technicals have changed my life. You know, in the past 2 years of learning about them and just kind of trying to make money with them, I would not want to be trading any other way. It just gives me the ability to manage my risk and to find better entry and exit areas and to use probability and really just try and become the house. Because at the end of the day, there's the house and there's the players, and 99% of people that are retail traders are the players. But there is a 1% that actually know what they're doing, that are not hedge funds or institutions. There are some of us that kind of work hard to learn as much as possible, and we try and just increase our probabilities. And that's all I want to do, is just teach you all how to do the same. And I'm not the best trader in the world. I mess up all the time. So I'm not trying to act like I am. But one thing I will say is I always make sure that I'm doing my best to not let anybody else outwork me, because all this is just like chess, right? The more you put into learning how to trade and learning these technicals that a lot of people think are BS, the more you can get out of them. And I really think a main reason why technicals have such a bad image is because a lot of people just kind of, they don't know what they're doing, and then they lose money trading technicals incorrectly, and then they crap on technicals publicly because they don't want to learn it the right way. But I just try and teach everything as good as I can. So hopefully you learned something from all of that. Thank you for all the new subs. Let me breathe for a second here. We got 70 people in here. But yeah, Clover, we'll see what happens with everything going on. I mean, even if we go over, let me pull it up to the options chain for this week. Like, I don't know if we're going to get a big move this week for Clover. You know, if we look at probability, it has been just going sideways for the last month. But if there is any week for things to kind of go crazy, this week would be a week where you could see a very interesting move, right? Because if we look at this options chain, it loads up here. Did I go to the wrong one? No. So if you look at that, right, for the $9 strike, there's 55,000 open interest on the calls, 82,000 for the $10 strike. And then for the $15 strike, way out, you almost double the current stock price. So you have the most amount of open interest. Even if we go to this week alone, if we go to the 20th, you still have 41,000 calls for $15 this week on Clover. So it's like everything is just, it's really interesting. And you know, I would not just be talking about this to try and, you know, clickbait and everything. Like every single thing I just brought up, feel free to fact check it. You know, and if you ever have any questions, just message me on Twitter at ChampionVibe or join the Discord. The link is in the description, and feel free to let me know there if you have any questions. But every single thing I'm bringing up is truly what I am seeing and truly what you can find in textbooks about technical analysis and everything going on. So we'll see what tomorrow brings for Clover. Let me take a look at the chat right now. Looks like I missed a lot. 7 more likes to hit 50 likes. Appreciate all the support. Let's see. Killaroo says, may I ask why you are in love with CLOV? Charging ETC, just curious. CLOV is, I mean, on the one hand, CLOV has been really good to me. On the other hand, like I just kind of explained, I'm just seeing so much here. You know, I always feel like my job is kind of to share what I'm thinking with other people. And there are certain times when I personally get super focused around one stock. It's happened with Fisker in the past. It's happened with QS in February. And now it's kind of happening with Clover, where all the things I look for are just kind of lining up. And when that happens, historically, and again, it's only happened really twice before, but both of those times, you know, it was really good for me financially and for a lot of other people. I know there's dozens and dozens of people that can attest to how good that Fisker butterfly was, or to how good the QS falling wedge was. It's just, I just feel like it's my duty to share what I'm learning and try and teach it to other people, even if I'm wrong. Even if all this is just wrong and I end up looking crazy, at least I tried my best and I just tried to educate. That's just my main goal. So I never really, you know, a lot of people get frustrated when I only talk about one stock for the majority of the stream and on Twitter, but at the end of the day, I like talking about what I want to talk about. I like teaching what I want to teach, and I just like sharing my honest opinions and what's in here. Whatever is in here is what I want to talk about on the stream. And for right now, truthfully, it is Clover. So I've never had any shame in focusing the stream around one stock. I know for the majority of the stream in the past year, it's usually been pretty split up, but there are certain times when just one certain ticker kind of gets my attention for either good reasons or unfortunately not good reasons, but so far they mostly have been for good reasons. And yeah, fundamentals, of course, I do love it fundamentally as well. Cheddar Freeze with the volume price action analysis analogy, or I guess quote, with filling the warehouse. That was a very interesting book that you shared. Mert in the chat checking in. How you doing? Thomas says, so you're saying Moon finally got it, no longer need to be patient. Well, the whole entire thing about Wyckoff accumulation is patience, which is why it's been relatively slow for the past month on Clover. But if I'm identifying the phases correctly, we could be entering the final phase of this accumulation range, which, if you look at the other chart, could lead to higher prices. And when you get to higher prices, you have a lot of shares on loan that could be kind of covered, which could increase the price, which could get you to new strike prices where market makers need a hedge to be delta neutral. Then you can get a gamma squeeze and so on. There's just a lot of things that can kind of add up on top of each other. What's up, Zeke for Bleak in the chat? Matt G says, champion vibe is the best, period. Anyone who disagrees will need to get through me. Good luck with that, everybody. I think that is Josifu if I'm not mistaken. Tar Heel says, if what you say is true, the crab and the Wu-Tang could be dangerous. A lot going on, you know. I mean, I don't know how much more you could see on a chart. And again, I'm not just saying this to clickbait everybody. Feel free to fact check everything I just brought up. Cheddar Free says, I see lots of new people in here, so important to keep emotions under control in the market. Absolutely. Again, no matter how much I talk about Clover, no matter how much I love Clover and how much I'll, just look into everything that's going on, still every single day managing my risk, not trying to be YOLO. And I know a lot of people here might be YOLOing, but for me, it's just like, there's always going to be more things for me to trade. I'm just trying to do my best to manage my risk, make money, and compound my gains over the long run, with Clover, with other stocks, whatever it may be. Medi says, QS was my favorite trade. Love seeing all the Momo trades entering in the high 50s and low 60s, and we got in when it was ugly. Yeah, I mean, the QS trade, if anybody who wasn't here back then, it was my personal best trade ever. I had a lot of money in call options on QS back in February, and it ended up working very well for me. It was right over here. This was pretty much the move. It only took like a week and a half. And it was a very, very big move, especially because the options had a super low IV when I got in, and then things got crazy. There was a price target or an upgrade from Adam Jonas, and just everything went amazing. But that was one of the probably top 3 trades I've shared. Barasan says, don't forget about Solo. We all know how I feel about Solo. JJ says, newbie here, thanks for the thoughts, really interesting stuff. Absolutely, hope you took something from it, even, regardless of Clover. I hope some of you who don't, even if you don't care about Clover, I hope all the things that I'm bringing up and talking about, you can use for other stocks as well and kind of take something from it. Mr. J Long 5000 says, nice champ, this case study with CLOV, all the fundamentals will be helpful for us noticing patterns of our own money and picks in the future. Yeah, that's all I'm trying to do, is just kind of help you look at all the things I'm looking at. So not only you can see what's going on with CLOV, but so you can take all of these things and look at these same exact formations on other stocks as well. But yeah. Keep hitting that like button, hit that subscribe button. We're only 80 subscribers away from 3,000 subscribers. And hopefully that breakdown was good. We still got a lot more to cover this stream. So we're going to try our best to get to everything, but that was pretty much the Clover breakdown. Again, if you missed it, I already did upload a full video dedicated to Clover this morning. So if you're not interested in the rest of the stream, where I'm just going to pretty much be talking about a bunch of other stocks and just teaching about technicals, feel free to go look at my other Clover video I uploaded this morning. But we still have a lot more to cover this stream apart from Clover. So if you want to stick around, feel free to do so. Thank you for the 50 likes. And what I'm going to really do for the rest of the stream is, first, I'm going to look at AMC and Fisker just to cover them. They're popular tickers that also I like talking about on the stream. And then after I do that, I'll recap the rest of the ongoing trades, and then we'll do ticker requests in probably about 20 minutes. And if you're confused about what I mean by ongoing trades, I don't only talk about Clover, surprisingly. I share swing trade ideas in the Discord and on Twitter every single week. So if you want those trade ideas for all the things that I'm looking at, join the Discord, the link's in the description, or follow me on Twitter at ChampionVibe, and that's where I share everything. So first off, let's talk about AMC. It was another mid cap that also had a green day. You know, most mid caps are red today, but Clover was up and AMC was up pretty nicely today. So there's one thing that's really interesting to me on AMC right now. If we take a look at this daily MACD, yet again, hidden bullish divergence. Now, what do I mean by that? Well, you could see from these lows over here to these lows up here, you made a higher low, right? So I can kind of show you it like this. It's going to be this yellow line. You made a higher low from over here to up here. Now, while you made that higher low, you got divergence on your oscillators. Now, your oscillators are the MACD and the RSI. So your divergence was, instead of making a higher low, you made a lower low. You had lower levels of negative momentum or increased levels of negative momentum. You got lower on the MACD and you got lower on the RSI while you made a higher low on price. Now, what does that imply? It implies a continuation of this uptrend. Now, I know AMC has been in a short-term downtrend since it topped out around 70 in June, but if we zoom out, it is in a long-term uptrend, right? It is still making higher lows on the daily if you zoom out. So that implies a continuation of the uptrend after the dip. Apart from that, actually, just to add on to that, you got the same exact thing right over here. And I did talk about this on stream back in February. But if you remember, AMC made that initial move from $2 to $20 in January. Then it came all the way back down in February, only to make a higher low from this low to this low, but a lower low on the MACD. You got hidden bullish divergence in this $5 area, and eventually it ran all the way to 70 after that. So you have the same exact formation on the daily MACD and on the RSI. Apart from that, pretty close to a bullish Gartley harmonic pattern. It's not textbook, a little bit shy on the B point and on the D point, but it ended up bouncing at the 73% retrace. Also, the way I'm looking at this is like a descending broadening wedge, which would kind of just be these two green lines right here. I know Cheddar Freeze was looking at it like a falling wedge, something like this. That actually looks really clean as well. Whichever way you kind of look at it, I think it broke out today. So breakout on AMC today. Next resistance, I mean, it is testing this 36 area, which used to be its previous all-time highs in 2015 and 2016. If it can clear that tomorrow or the day after, then you got some at 38.67. And if you can get above 39, there's not much resistance historically to like 50. So that's what I'm watching on AMC. Just wanted to bring it up. We'll talk about Fisker next. Thank you for the 53 likes. Thomas says, where can we get the tunes playlist? Everybody always talks about the music. Honestly, I don't like this playlist. I like this genre of music, which is just lo-fi music. So my answer would just be go on whatever music platform you use and look up lo-fi music, L-O-F-I music. But this playlist right here, like if you listen to lo-fi music, this is not really the best. I just use this because it's apparently non-copyright on Spotify, but I get copyrighted every single stream. So I should probably find another one. I don't know why I haven't done so. But moving on to Fisker. And ended up being a break-even swing trade, but it was only 5% away from the target of the trade. It would have been like a 30% profit. Super 55 for the past 2 days. I don't know if my stream just cut out. It said it was cut out for a second, then it came back on. Am I lagging right now? Yeah, the viewers just dropped as well. Let me take a look. It looks good on my end. I think it might have just cut out for a second. Dropped frames, all good now. All right, so I think we're good. I don't know why I did that. But yeah, with Fisker, you know, the offering happened. It's now closed for 2 days under 14.55, which was that same exact support we had the really good trade off of in January. Today it did actually have a bullish pin bar to close off the day. That's really it. Still is under 14.55. I would like to see it reclaim that for me to be more confident in the short-term price action. Apart from that, I'm not too sure. I don't really see anything else. I don't see much of a pattern. We were looking at this, I think, on stream, but, you know, just kind of spitballing right here. Like maybe this eventually could turn into another harmonic. It did make a 618 retrace perfectly from X to B. and then maybe, you know, it goes to a 786, which would be at 12 bucks, another support. Then it could be a bullish Gartley. If it goes down to like much lower levels, well, actually, let's just say hopefully it doesn't, but you never know. But I just want to see Fisker either get above 1455 or come down to 12 and bounce off of that. I'm fine with whatever. I just have, you know, I obviously have no clue on which one it's going to do, so I'll just be kind of watching whatever does happen. But yeah, I just like covering Fisker every single night to talk about it. That's really all that changed today. Not too much of a difference. Now I'm just going to recap the rest of the ongoing trades. Apart from Clover and AMC today, pretty much all the other mid caps are red. You know, it was a very, very ugly day. Like I said earlier, the ARK ETF, which kind of tracks those types of stocks, was down 4% at one point, which is pretty rare. So yeah, all the other pretty much swing trades were kind of red. MVST, this trade was up 5% on Friday, which is the day I put it out, but now it's down 5%. So great job there. But it did close right above the important support. So this 1030 level was your support in April and May. It closed above that, which is good. I just want to see it hold above that again tomorrow. Otherwise, it could get ugly. So it's all about holding that level tomorrow. Just to finish, or to quickly finish the rest of the ongoing trades before I just talk to the chat again. RES also got wrecked today, unfortunately. Again, just not a great day for these types of stocks. This trade's down 8%. So next support is 357, resistance is 394. X did not move at all today. The trade is still up about 15% since the entry. Already broke out of the handle, this cup and handle. Hopefully you can get above 30 to break out of the neckline. But it's looking good. It's looking good for right now. We'll see if this can continue to do well. Yeah, just kind of 2 inside days in a row. BlackBerry came down to the important support we were talking about. Again, remember we talked about this, I think like last night or just the night before, but it did break out of this triangle to the downside. But it did bounce right off that $9.60 support I've been talking about for weeks. So I just want to see BlackBerry continue to hold above $9.60. It did kind of close under the 200 moving average. It could reclaim that though. And then finally, the DOC trade is just kind of walking around the demand line of this upsloping channel. Not much of a change, still around the entry. This one barely moves. I don't even know. I might just take it off the sheet at some point. But yeah, that's it for the most part on the ongoing trades. Right now, futures for the S&P 500 are down 0.5%. And then futures for the Russell 2000 are down 0.37%. So not too good overnight, but it's not the end of the world. And that's pretty much the recap from the day. So keep hitting that like button, hit that subscribe button. If you're not in the Discord, you are missing out. So the link is in the description. Make sure to join that to get trade alerts, stream alerts, because I know YouTube does not do a great job of sharing when I'm live, even if you hit the notification bell. That's also where you can use paid bots for free. And get a bunch of educational resources, meet like 2,000 other traders. It's a great place for any level of trading. So links in the description if you want to join that. It's completely free. And yeah, you know, for swing trades, it's just not been the best market ever since really the beginning of July. I think day trading has definitely been a lot better in the last month and a half. And that's just really, I've probably spent the past month and a half also mainly just focusing on day trades. So you know, I don't really share day trades outside of the premium group, just because it's a lot for me to trade myself and then also share it. But, you know, the link for that's always in the description. Today I think I shared Clover calls yet again in the premium options chat. And I think those went up like 25% or something at one point during the day. Did fall a little bit after that, but another profitable trade. I put out a tweet earlier. I forgot the number, but this has been my bread and butter, and I was saying it earlier. Somebody was asking, like, why do I talk about Clover so much? Why do I care about so much? Clover's been good to me. I know a lot of people cannot say the same for the past 2 months on Clover because it just went from $28 to $8. But if you're in the premium group, you know, let's see. Yep, 14 out of 17 Clover call option ideas I've shared have been winners, which means they've gone up 20% before falling 20% since the time I shared them. And 14 out of 17 in this downtrend, right? Look at this. So in all of this, I've only shared calls and no shorts. I'm not shared puts either, only calls. And 14 out of 17 of them have been winners. So, you know, that's pretty much been where I've been trading a lot during the day, just trading Clover, day trading other names as well. That's just where I've kind of, you know, been finding the most success in the past month and a half until the swing trade market just gets a little bit better, like how it used to be. So yeah, that's pretty much it for the recap of the day. If anybody's interested in those types of trades, the premium link is in the description, but that's all I'm going to say about that. Let's see what else I missed in the chat. And I really hope my stream is not lagging right now. I'm getting a bunch of warnings and stuff popping up. No clue why. Cheddar Free says, Apple, what a day for the options for those who got and finally hit Ultimize. I did look at Apple in the morning. I know the pennant that everybody's talking about on social media and everything, Cheddar Free was talking about as well. It actually had a little bit of a fake out very early in the morning, like right around the open. It broke out, but then it came all the way back down as the NASDAQ was falling. And then later on in the day, when the NASDAQ bounced, Apple went up pretty nicely, and I believe it did break out. We'll look at it in a second here. That was going to be my first trade of the day, but the fake out kind of made me not look at it for the rest of the day. Jab Dab says, so what's your opinion on the loaded options train for 820 and it possibly affecting the price action? I talked about it in the video I put out this morning for Clover, which was like a 13-minute video. It's on my channel. I think, it's important. I mean, it just depends if we get up to those strike prices, if we get above 9 and hold above 9, if we get above 10 and hold above 10 before Friday. But again, with the gamma squeeze, you need the price to go up first. That has to happen first. Volume and demand needs to come in first. Just because a stock has a high short interest or a loaded options chain doesn't mean it's 100% going to squeeze. It cannot squeeze unless there are buyers. So Clover needs more buyers in the short term to get it up to those prices by Friday for things to go crazy. So it just depends. I cannot tell you personally if buyers will come in, but time will tell. And again, it doesn't have to happen this week. I mean, next week has a pretty good options chain. It's not as good as this week, but just depends on when demand comes in. Kent in the Discord brought up a good point on Skyon taking the $30 million puts on ARK. He's heavy on Tesla puts. That's the biggest weight in ARK. Not too sure what Skyon is, but yeah, a lot of things going on with ARK. And then obviously, I saw some people in Discord talk about Michael Burry today, who got I think over $500 million puts, or $500 million worth of puts in Tesla, if I'm not mistaken. Always feel free to fact check me, but there's a lot of things going on at the institutions. I mean, I would not be surprised if right now there's a lot going on behind the scenes, because I do think, just looking at how a lot of stocks are moving, especially ever since the Archegos stuff that went down, it's been a pretty different market for the past few months compared to the beginning of the year. I've just been seeing some, so it is Michael Burry's fund. Okay, so that makes a lot more sense. I kind of did bring it up, but not exactly. So thank you for helping me out there. So $30 million inputs on ARK. So that is pretty interesting. We got two titans of the investment world going up against each other, I guess. Cathie Wood and Michael Burry. I know Michael Burry was on Twitter, I think last month or something, warning about a market crash. Hasn't happened yet. Probably will happen at some point, but probably only 1% of people will be able to time it perfectly. So the way I look at it is, you could try and be the 1% that does time it perfectly, but 99% of people, no matter how skilled they are, will just not have the best timing, and they'll get caught. But it doesn't matter. As long as you know how to manage your risk, a crash should never worry you. If you have a stop loss, a crash should not worry you. If you have proper position sizing, a crash should not worry you. If you know how to hedge, a crash should not worry you. Well, could you lose money in a crash? Most people do, but you have to keep it manageable. That's just how I look at it, which is why I don't worry about a crash every single day. It's going to happen at some point. I can nearly confirm that for you. I think historically there's a pretty decent correction about every decade for the market, but we just had one at the start of last year. We'll see how long it takes to get to the next one. But for right now, it just looks like the market is on autopilot. Max says, you understand the personality of a stock, Clover. Yeah, that's how I've been so successful day trading options on Clover for the past 2 months. It's because I'm looking at Clover every day. So, hopefully if you look at the same exact thing every single day and you spend your time doing that, you get good at least trading it, or somewhat good at it. But for sure, understanding the personality of stock is very, very important. Tim says, just joined, wondering about what has been said about CLOV. Timestamps will be up after the stream as always. Follow me on Twitter at ChampionVibe to know when the timestamps are up, and then you can come back to the replay of the stream, and then you can use the scroll bar to find whichever tickers you want, and then you can also use the pinned comment as well. One of one Viper says, Burry is rarely wrong, just doesn't time things well. I think he did time 2008 pretty well. I don't know what the other stuff on his track record looked like in his timing, but I think he's smart. I don't think that's unfair to say. I think he is very, very smart. I definitely give him a lot of respect, but I don't think everybody should think he's like the ultimate master of the market. You know, he's been wrong before, like most people are. You know, people just kind of think that you have to always be at the top level in whatever craft you're in to be good. No, there's going to be ups and downs in whatever craft you take in life. So it's all about just knowing how to capitalize on the good times and just ride through the rough times. One of One Viper says he's honestly more right than Warren Buffett. Both of them don't time things well, though. I mean, that's also the thing about timing things. You don't necessarily need to time things. Like I was saying about earlier, you don't need to time things to make money in this market. Most people do not time things. So that's why, you know, the saying about time in the market is better than timing the market. So you don't have to worry about, you know, timing things perfectly. You can just kind of ride the wave, manage your risk, and then when it's time for you to capitalize, you capitalize. But I think there was some sort of statistic last year that more people, I can't even remember what it was, but it was something about like more people lost money trying to anticipate a market crash than they would have if the market actually did crash, if that makes sense. Like there was more money lost in hedging and shorting and getting puts on names like Tesla that went crazy last year than people would have lost either way if the market did crash like it did in the COVID crash. So it's like, it depends, you know? I'm not telling you what to do, I'm just sharing my thoughts on it. I just think a lot of things are overstated in the market and on CNBC and all those other things that are very mainstream. And then One Viper, Killeru, we're not doing take requests for right now. As per usual, I'll let you know when we are. One Viper says, actually, he was 2 years ahead of the 2008 crash. His fund was down over 40% 2 years. But yeah, again, you know, eventually things did turn his way and he was able to capitalize. It's just about riding the storm until things do turn your way. Same thing with Clover right now. You know, a lot of people have a certain opinion about Clover, myself included, that it can eventually go up. It's just a question of how long it will be. And if it will go lower before going higher, or if it'll just go higher tomorrow, whatever, you know, whatever it is what it is. All right, so keep hitting that like button, hit that subscribe button if you didn't already. And yeah, I think I recapped almost everything. I think I also got most of the chat down. Also, just another reminder, if you missed my Clover video from earlier, feel free to watch that. Let me see what it's looking like right now. Wow, 1,100 views already in 13 hours, so appreciate all the support on that. And where does it show the likes? Over 100 likes as well, so thank you for all that. But yeah, we could do ticker requests now. Final reminder, I just say all these things because I know we have a lot of newer people in the stream that might just be joining in. If you're not in the Discord, the link is in the description. It's fully free. Just to put it short, if you're not in the Discord, you're missing out. Okay, I don't want to keep going on about what's in the Discord and what you're missing out on. Just know you're missing out if you're not in it. And yeah, we'll do ticker requests now. Do not request anything that was up over 30% today. Personally, I don't like chasing things unless I'm day trading. But again, for this stream, I'm mainly looking at things in the eyes of a swing trader. I'm not looking at these stocks as day trades or investments. I kind of do that off stream. But for the sake of the stream, I mainly just look at things as swing trades. That's what we always do. So don't request anything that also IPO'd within the last month. I need data on a chart to analyze it. And then finally, remember, nothing I say is financial advice. Technicals are not certainty, they're only probability. All right. So we'll take a look at these. Thank you, Trader Freeze, for joining or for dropping the Discord in the chat. If you have not joined yet, go join. The link is in the chat right now. Oh my gosh, I forgot to pin the tips page. I never forget to do that, but tonight I did. I guess I was just so eager to talk about the CLOV pattern, but it's now pinned in the chat. I don't know, maybe I did. Maybe it's glitched out. I can't remember. Whatever though. Thank you for all the tips this week, or for the tips in the past few weeks, by the way. But yeah, let's look at all these tickers now. We're gonna start with Apple. I'm gonna type in all those other names as well. Jab Dab says, what lo-fi music is this? I get asked that so much. It's the name of the playlist is like But again, just look up lo-fi music and you'll probably find a better playlist. But yeah, let's drop these tickers in the chat. Let's get back to charting. First off, Apple broke out today. Everybody was watching this. I was looking on Twitter. I saw a lot of people I follow talking about it. I know Cheddar Freeze was talking about it. I was looking at it this morning, but if we go over here, you can see it did this. So right in the morning, it had the pop. It looked like it was breaking out, but then the NASDAQ started kind of tanking. And then Apple came all the way down here, like literally right over here when I saw it was breaking out. If you go over to the 1 hour, like right here, I saw it was breaking out on this candle wick over here. And I literally had my finger on the options button to get some calls. But then I just looked over at the NASDAQ because I always like looking at the indices before I enter a trade. And I just saw the NASDAQ was going down. So I'm like, all right, let me wait for like 30 more seconds to see if Apple will kind of follow the market. And then within like 2 or 3 minutes, it went from all the way at like 150 down to like 140 something, 148 or something. I was like, all right, I don't know what's going on with the market today. I'm just going to get out of here for now and I'll look at it tomorrow. But I did actually miss out on the eventual run that happened. And yeah, it did break out of this little. Some people have it charted differently. I actually have it charted closer to like an ascending triangle kind of, but relatively just some sort of a consolidation area with some hidden bullish divergence on the 4 hour. If this back tests the breakout tomorrow, I might try and look at it as another day trade. Kind of missed out on it today. But yeah, all-time high close on Apple, very, very strong. I think anything above 145 on this at this point on Apple is good. That was your previous all-time high in January. Wish, there's not much I can do with Wish right now. It's pretty much around all-time lows after the earnings. Those are all your levels on the chart if you want to take a screenshot. I don't know, maybe if you go over to the 15-minute, it's trying to find for me to see a little bit more here to work with on the chart. SPSC already broke out of a little bit of like a flag here. And it's already at a new all-time high, so you could probably just use Fibonacci at this point for resistance. Your 1618 Fibonacci will be around 134. And in terms of support, your previous all-time high was around 117, so that's your new support. If you break that, then maybe you have some at 109 as well from this high, and then this low. And then EVGO for Killaroo, who's been asking. 1073 is the important level. It broke down, it broke under that level, and then it flipped it into resistance last week. I do not like that. It's not the end of the world by any means, but I want to see it get back above that level for me to be more confident in it. Otherwise, your next level of support is like 878 from your previous all-time low. Apart from that, maybe a little bit of just like a down-sloping channel as well. I mean, again, this could break out at any point. I'm not saying it's the end of the world, but personally, it's in a downtrend for right now. I just want to see some more demand before I get more happy about how it's looking. And I obviously don't know anything about it fundamentally, so I can't really speak on it in terms of that. But those are your levels on the chart. Hopefully it breaks out, and we'll see what happens. Corsair also broke a range to the downside and also flipped it into a resistance, or the previous support into resistance. So same thing as the last chart. I mean, your next support would be like 26 bucks, which it was kind of your low today. Otherwise, your resistance is like around 29 bucks. I would like to see it get back above that for me to be more confident in it, because it was in a range ever since March and it broke down this month. So maybe it does double bottom, a little bit of a fake out, then runs back into the range, but hopefully it can get back above. BABA, it's in between support and resistance. Your resistance is 196.4 from all these little previous highs. You can see with the highlighted areas. And then if you cannot bounce here, your next support is like 170-ish from your lows in March. So it's just in between. So I could see this one going either way. And again, like I said last night on stream, everybody always wants answers and stuff like that. Most of the time with technicals, you're not going to get answers. And that's something that a lot of people teach incorrectly. I'm sure many of you who have learned technicals from other people, they try to make you have like a magic ball for you to try and predict the future and stuff like that. That's not really what it is. Most of the time, it's going to be very boring and you're not going to really see much. And that's just the fact of the matter. if you want to learn how to use them the right way, so you don't get disappointed every single time that they fail because you're using them incorrectly. So yeah, I mean, it's just in the middle of a range. I don't really see much apart from that. Pinterest could be at the PCZ or around the PCZ of a bullish bat. It did gap down after earnings, so which kind of makes it a little bit unfilled. But maybe that could be a little bit of help if it does decide to bounce. You're gonna have a gap fill. So your resistance would be around $70, your 200-day moving average and your gap fill. And you're around support right now, which was your previous kind of lows from November and also May. Apart from that, not too much. But yeah, pretty much just kind of like a bullish bat at a demand area potentially. Hopefully it can bounce here. If it does not, then it has room back down to fill the gap at 46. So hopefully it can bounce here. RAD also pretty close to a bullish Gartley over here. Pretty interesting. I'd say your support is $12. You can see historically that was your low from December of 2018. It was your support in pretty much the COVID crash. And then also May of last year was your support. So I just want to see it hold above 12. Obviously that's kind of a little bit far from the price. On the flip side, you have the 200-day moving average at $18.16, and you have a gap fill at $19.54. But nice Gartley there. A little bit deep on the D point, but relatively textbook. I don't really see much divergence apart from that. Oh yeah, there's also a whole entire music channel in the Discord. I know Cheddar Freeze is always in, if anybody wants to listen to music there. Yeah, we'll look at SOFI. And that's pretty much it. Let me restart my playlist. Alright, so first off, AMP. The trend is your friend for right now. It's making higher highs and higher lows. The two biggest levels I see are 267 and 237. It just broke above that 267 level, which is good. In terms of Fibonacci, which is all you can do for resistance now, your 1618 would be 285.5. Other than that, I don't really see much. Its trend is your friend for right now until it starts making some sort of a trend reversal with lower highs and lower lows. SOFI broke under that really important support. We've been talking about it for so long, but that 1470 area was your support. It was looking good from a technical standpoint going into earnings, but again, what do technicals matter when you have earnings? Earnings did not end up going well and gapped down after earnings and then had fall through today. Again, it's like I said, it all came down to earnings, and unfortunately earnings were not that good, or at least the price action afterwards where it's not that good for the short term at least. So, I mean, I guess you still have the low from May 13th at $14.14. And then after that, you probably got $13-ish as your next support. You still do have the gap fill up here at 1670 before earnings. Those are all your levels. Apart from that, I don't see much of a pattern now. It was finally breaking out, and then earnings kind of turned in the other direction. You know? We got 70 likes. Thank you very much for the 40 people still in here. Keep hitting that like button. You meant AMPUSD? Alright, we'll take a look at it. Yeah, if it's ever a crypto, please type in USD by the ticker name so I don't get confused. Not a lot to look at right here though. Your support's like 5.8 cents if that's how you read it correctly. And then I'd say your resistance is around like 6.7 cents. So it's just within a range right now. Maybe you could argue that this is hidden bullish divergence on the daily. Not a lot of data though. So yeah, I mean, I guess it could be around the golden retrace right now. Yep, look at that, perfectly just kind of finding support at the 618 Fibonacci level. Again, if you ever get confused about all these terms I bring up on the stream, there is a full free course on my channel. Just go to the playlist section of my channel and you can learn about Fibonacci, harmonics, divergence, support, trading psychology, options, patterns, candles. All of that stuff is in the course. All right. We already looked at Pinterest. It'll be in the timestamps. It's at the PCZ of a harmonic and a demand area. Hopefully it can bounce. Otherwise, there's a gap fill lower for Pinterest. ANY. It says earnings are on the 18th, which is in 2 days, so technicals really don't matter. But I can show you the levels, you know, even before earnings. I'd say you got some support around 393 and resistance around 553, so it's kind of right in between them. You do have a gap fill to 524 as well. Don't see much divergence. I do like the higher lows if you kind of zoom out. A little bit of a rounding formation as well. But it all comes down to the earnings numbers. It was up 13% today, which is nice. SCHW for a short. Yeah, it could eventually develop hidden bear, or it is developing hidden bearish divergence on the daily. Made a lower high on price with a higher high on the MACD, and I think on the RSI, let me verify that. Pretty much around the same high on the RSI, so that could be class C, hidden bearish divergence. So yeah, maybe you could even look at it almost as a potential double top if it can't reverse back higher. I think you said something else about it though. Bearish divergence and a bearish harmonic as a hedge in case the market goes down. In terms of a harmonic, I'm not exactly sure how you're looking at it. I mean, I think this would be way too deep for it to be like that since the COVID crash, but we can take a look. Let's see. Not really, actually. It kind of could be within the range of a bearish butterfly from literally the COVID crash lows. But if we could, let's see if we could find like a closer one. Maybe you're just looking at it like this, like a bearish bat. And that would be a bearish bat. So, I mean, if you really zoom out like crazy, you're within the range of a bearish butterfly from literally like March of 2020. But I'm sure you're probably talking about this. Now that I look at it, probably just like this kind of bearish bat pattern right there. So yeah, it is pretty interesting. You already got a reversal at around the 886 PCZ. The guy says, "What up, my glops?" I don't know, but yeah, that's pretty much it for that. And I guess if you did short this, I'd say target would be like 66 bucks maybe as a first target. After that, like 60. But again, it depends on the overall market. For right now, the trend is very, very bullish on CRSR. So, I mean, yeah, there are bearish technicals. Would I go short on this personally? I don't really short in the first place, but even if I did, I don't know. I would like to see a little bit more. But again, it still does have potential to pull back, especially if the market does. So we'll see what happens. Especially if it cannot break to a new higher high, that could be another good sign of confirmation. So we'll see. Future's still red, but not super red. Thank you for dropping the free course in the chat, Cheddar Freeze. And this will be the final ticker of the night, BOXL. Gapped up on Friday, held the gains somewhat today, close over the 200-day moving average. As long as this can continue closing above 219, I think it looks good. 219 is a historical level. If it can really continue holding above this, I mean, eventually there could be room back up to 3, but if it can't, then you have a gap fill at like around $2 or 197. So it's either you hold this area, or if you don't, you could come back down to that area. It's like, it's a weird situation where it's like, it could do this, but could do that. Of course, that's how stocks are, but that's what I would be looking at, kind of. Maybe even was a little bit of a bearish bat. Or an alternate bat. Oh no, it got too deep on the B point. Never mind. And if you really zoom out, maybe a little bit of a falling wedge. If you look at it like this. Thank you, Brian, for the subscription. So, yeah, that's probably going to be it for the night. Thank you all for all the support. Make sure to hit that like button if you didn't already. Hit that subscribe button. For the people who just dropped tickers in the chat, unfortunately, going to be done for the night. I've been charting since like 8 a.m. So, yeah. Always feel free to come back tomorrow night and request tickers. I'll be live again at 9 p.m. EST. If not, you can just join the Discord. The link's in the description, and you can ask around there. I'm sure somebody will help you out there. Just go to the trading chat in the Discord. And yeah, hope you all have a great night. Good luck trading tomorrow. Thank you for watching the stream. Hit the subscribe button with the notification bell. Hit the like button and join the Discord, and follow me on Twitter at ChampionVibe. Everything's in the description, so just check that out. And the timestamps should be up within an hour. I'll also let you know on Twitter when they're up. So have a great night. Peace out. JJ with the $15 donation. I was just about to end the stream, so perfect timing there. Let me read the message. Thanks, found you through one of the CLOV guys. Really informative and trying to learn, I'm not too sure. In CLOV for approximately 10,000 shares and looking to find other plays while learning some of their technicals. Thanks again. And I'll definitely be turned in. I got a little bit confused at the end of that message, but thank you very, very much, JJ, for the $15 tip. Let's get some vibes in the chat for JJ if you're still watching the stream. Really appreciate the tip. Hope you're doing well and glad to hear you're learning. So yeah, make sure to join the Discord. Feel free to reach out to me there if you have any questions, and have a great night. Thank you again for the tip. Last minute vibes. Yep. KTF in the chat as well. Drop some vibes if you're still here, and I'll see you all tomorrow. Thank you again, JJ.